What is going on, guys? It is freaking freezing. Welcome to January. We're going to talk about my baits that I have tied on, and it's only 4 this month, and I catch the snot out of fish, so stay tuned. All right, first of all, let's talk about what's going on in January. It's cold. The water temperature has dropped. Usually here in the south, it's around in the 40s, and you want to break out your wintertime baits. And we're going to talk about those specifically, the 4 that I always carry with me. But the bass get out. They get out on these bluff walls. Right now, I'm sitting up against a bluff wall. It's 30 feet deep right at the front of my boat. It's just they hang out along here because the bait fish get along these bluff walls. They get out over deep water into these points, and they move not a whole lot. They tend to stay in the general area. So the kind of places I look for in January are hard cover, so rock, wood, on these straight drops, or where a creek channel runs up against the bank or runs up against a point, those steep drops, because the bass are fairly lethargic. They still want to eat. They still want to bulk up for the springtime, for the spawn. They're just not going to eat very fast, and they're not going to eat a whole lot because they're not moving very much. But anyway, so they want to move up to feed and down to feed, and the bait fish are doing the same thing. They tend to move more horizontal than vertical, like they do when it's really warm. So these are the type of baits I'm going to be using, the kind that look like dying bait fish, that are worked more up and down, or more of a hop, really slowly along the bottom. So let me pull out my box, and I'm going to pull one out at a time, and I'm going to talk about it. All right, so this box has been my wintertime box for a long time. And there's not a whole lot in it, but everything has fairly, a lot in common. I don't want to turn it too far because I'll dump it out, but a lot of hard metal baits. And the first one I want to talk about is a Flutter Spoon, okay? And what I'm going to do during this, after I'm done with this video, is down in the description, I'm going to put a link to every single one of the baits I talk about and the baits that I have in my box, so you guys can go take a look at them and see what you want. But a Flutter Spoon, there's one in my box, there's one tied on the rod behind me. And with a Flutter Spoon, I'm going to put it on a medium heavy rod, typically one this size. It's going to be in a medium heavy rod. Now, there's another small spoon in here somewhere. I can't see it. There it is right there. These smaller spoons, like this one right here, I'll throw those on a medium heavy moderate rod or a medium fast rod. Okay, so the 3 rods for small spoons: medium heavy moderate or medium fast, and for larger spoons, a medium heavy fast, like my jig rod. With the bigger spoons, 17 to 20 pound test Seagar fluorocarbon, and with the smaller ones, 12 to 15 pound test. And the way you're going to fish it, and the reel, I'm going to have a high speed reel, an 8:3-to-1 gear ratio reel, so I can get it in really fast and make another cast, because these fish the bait fish are moving up and down and moving enough to where if you make a bad cast, you want to be able to get it in really, really quick. All right, so what I'm doing with a Flutter Spoon is I'm going around and I'm working parallel to these bluff walls and parallel to the drops and the points. I'm throwing it out, letting it sink to the bottom, hopping it up, letting it flutter back down. Now, when it flutters back down, these Flutter Spoons, they'll go away from you. So you'll see your line go that way. 9 times out of 10, it's not a bass. When you see your line jump, it's a bass, and you'll feel it. They hit it like a ton of bricks. Just set the hook and have a whole lot of fun fighting them. There's not a whole lot more left to it. I mean, I'm going to make a video about it, but you just throw it out, let it jump down, hop it up, let it flutter back down. It's that flutter down really slow that hits them. Match the size of your bait fish. Right now in this lake, the gizzard shad and the threadfin are fairly good size. That's why I tend to go with the 5 and the 6-inch ones. I don't like the real giant ones, though. They tend to spook the fish more than they do anything else. So that's the Flutter Spoon. Let's grab the next one. All right, so the next one is one that I can fish. Let me put this down so I don't have to hold it the whole time. One that I can fish both casting it out and letting it sink to the bottom and bringing it back in, or I can do it vertical directly under the boat when I see them on my fish finder, and that is a blade bait. Okay, I love these dang things. They are a whole lot of fun to catch fish on. They don't get hung up as much as they look like they do. But like, for instance, right out in front of me, there's a flat, it's down 32 feet and it comes up to about 20, 25, and the bass will get out on top of that. And it's perfect for working those flats or working the ends of those long points when the bass pull up a little bit to feed. And it's perfect for, like I said, when you see them underneath the boat. Now, the rods that I'm going to use, and speaking of rods, they're all tangled up in a tree behind me. The rods that I'm going to use for this is, I love a moderate rod, because a lot of times a stiff rod, you're going to jerk it out of their mouth. You're not going to, you're going to overset the hook, for lack of better terms. And so I love to have a medium heavy, moderate rod, like my chatterbait rod, my spinnerbait rod, something like that. Something that takes a little bit longer to load up, and it's less likely to rip the bait out of the fish's mouth. 15 to 17 pound tests. Well, I'd even go 12 pound test Seagar, and then another high speed reel. You can get by with a 7.3 to 1 or an 8.3 to 1. But just a fun thing to do. And okay, so when I'm fishing a flat like this flat right out in front of me, I'll throw it out, make a good long cast, let it sink to the bottom, and I'm going to work it kind of like I'm hopping a Texas rig. You know, just a light little hop and bring in the slack, and a light little hop and bring in the slack, and it just right on the bottom. And you'll hop it just enough to where you feel the vibration, and then it comes back down. And you're not going to rip it up off the bottom. I mean, the water's cold, the fish are lethargic. Why are you going to make them look like it's 90 degrees and the fish are going crazy? Just don't do it. Just nice little soft hops up and down. And the other one is when you see them underneath you, you drop them down, especially on your down imaging. Drop it down underneath you and hop it up and work it through those suspended fish that are underneath you, and you'll get a bite on them. I just caught one a few minutes ago. As a matter of fact, my first one of 2024, I caught doing that right up underneath the boat. Pretty awesome. So a blade bait, you got to have it in your box in the wintertime. All right, so the next one is one you hear about all the time, and this one's really dirty, and I'm not going to go digging and finding a clean spinner or swim bait just to show this, because I'm not going to fish it today. But an underspin, okay? I love an underspin. This is another one where if you're working a flat, you throw it out, let it sink to the bottom, and you just slowly work it along the bottom. And they tend to hit it coming hard straight at you with this one. You literally will just lose touch of your bait, and you just, as soon as you realize you can't feel your bait anymore, you set the hook. It's ridiculous how hard they hit this thing a lot of times. But what you got to do is you match the size. I like a smaller one. This is a 4.2, I think, or 4-inch. Even this is probably the biggest one, but I try to match the size with the size bait fish that we have. This right here, this brand is a fish head spin. I don't typically go super light. I usually stay around 1/4 ounce and heavier, just so I can get it down to the bottom fast and then work it real slow along the bottom. Just a phenomenal bait. The rod I'm going to use is the same one I'm going to use with the blade bait. It's going to be a medium heavy moderate or medium fast 12-pound test fluorocarbon. You know, you can get by with just about any reel, but a 7-speed. But it's a fun one to fish. It also is really good when the fish are suspended. Live scoping it. Throw it out with the live scope, let it sink down below the fish, and below the bait fish, you'll see the bass that are up underneath the bait fish, and you work it through. They're really good. Working it down ditches on those blueback herring lakes, throw it out, let it sink into the ditch, and hop it and yo-yo it back to the boat. That kind of stuff. Just a phenomenal way to catch them in January. This one's a lot of fun. Okay. This is an old school bait. Matter of fact, I think I've probably had this one in my hand for about 25 years, and it has caught a mess of fish in the wintertime. And most people call it a tailspin. This is an old Little George tailspin is what this is. And very simple, just one treble hook, lead body, and a spinner behind it. It's a yo-yo and bait. Hop it up, yo-yo. I don't work it in timber. Oh my goodness, it gets hung up so easy. But along these bluff walls, hopping it down the bluff walls or hopping it along parallel to the bluff walls. That's all I'm doing is I'm getting it down close to the bottom and bringing it up about 12 inches off the bottom and hopping it through. I'm gonna throw this on a medium moderate or medium heavy moderate rod, depending on the weight of this. It's kind of hard to throw on a stiff rod, but you don't need any plastics, you don't need anything else. You just throw this, let it sink to the bottom and hop it. I'm gonna put it on probably 12-pound test fluorocarbon or 15 you can get by with, and then medium to a high speed reel, 7 or 8 speed reel. Pretty simple. Next month in February, I'm going to talk about a few more of my favorite wintertime baits. End of February here in the South, that tends to start the pre-spawn, and pre-spawn always starts when the nighttime temperatures, 4 or 5 nights in a row, the nighttime temperatures are warmer than the water temperature, and that water starts to warm up, and it starts to be really, really fun. So the next month's baits are going to be continuation of this through early pre-spawn, and it should be really, really fun. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My goal this year is to knock out about 100 to 150 videos. My son says he wants 170, but that's going to be tough. But I want to bust out a bunch of videos this year, and they're going to be bait heavy and tackle heavy and fishing heavy, and just going to be a whole lot of fun. So I hope you guys stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, be sure you subscribe, and like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing, introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go ahead and catch some fish, and have a great day. We'll see you.